Listen to each string. If you look really close, you can see it moving back and forth.
Yeah, right. It's quite how long that vibration that means.
Oh, that kind of movement? That sounds like back and forth movement. Those examples were studied in physics, right?
Oh, that's the good factor of oscillatory motion, right? But how does it really work?
Look everyone, I found a video that really kind of everything, from simple to different types. Let's watch this.
Good day everyone! In this part of our presentation, we will discuss about oscillatory motion and how it differs from periodic motion. So let's start with periodic motion. Periodic motion is any kind of motion that repeats itself at regular time intervals. Imagine the Earth revolving around the Sun. It completes one orbit every 365 days. That's periodic because the motion repeats after a fixed period of time. Another example is rotation of the second hand of a clock, which goes around the dial every 60 seconds. Now, oscillatory motion is a special kind of periodic motion. It is the to and fro movement of an object about a central or mean position. Think about a pendulum swinging back and forth, or a child on a swing at the playground. The motion repeats, but what makes it oscillatory is that the object always moves on either side of an equilibrium position. In oscillatory motion, there is always a restoring force, a force that pulls the object back towards its equilibrium position. For example, when you stretch a spring and let it go, the restoring force of the spring pulls it back, and that's why it vibrates back and forth. So to summarize, periodic motion is any repeating motion in a fixed interval of time, while oscillatory motion is a type of periodic motion where the object moves to and fro around mean position with a restoring force. Examples of oscillatory motion include the swing of a pendulum, the vibration of guitar string, or even the beating of the human heart. So the key idea is oscillatory motion always periodic, but periodic motion it's not always oscillatory. So now that we know what is oscillatory motion is and how is it different from periodic motion, so let's now proceed to its main types.
When we see a motion, it takes one action, and sometimes after doing that action, it ends, like a rock falling from a cliff down to the ground. But some action is periodic, meaning repeated, like the motion of the pendulum clock. It's called simple harmonic motion. It's a type of motion that goes back and forth. Let's say I have a spring. This is the wall and the spring. The equilibrium position is placed at the middle of the spring. That means the spring is being stretched as we're applying force to pull it towards the right from its equilibrium. There is a force that pulls it back towards the equilibrium known as the restoring force. Now, once you let go the spring, it's gonna move back towards the left. And it's not gonna stop in the equilibrium. It's gonna move past, and once that happens, it's gonna bounce back the other direction. So it's gonna move back and forth towards the left and towards the right. As it oscillates back and forth, you have a simple harmonic motion or periodic motion. Now, according to Hooke's law, restoring force is F equals negative K times X, which is the distance. X is the distance measured from the equilibrium position. The distance between the spring is located and the equilibrium position is X. And X in equilibrium is 0. And for the K is spring constant of the Hooke's law, and K has a unit of newtons per meter. Let's say you have 100 newtons per meter. What that means is that it requires 100 newton of force to stretch or compress the spring by 1 meter. And let's say you have 1000 newton per meter of spring, meaning it's really stiff while the 100 newton is loose. Before we work on the problems, why do you think there's a negative sign in the equation? Well, the negative appears because if you apply force towards the right, the displacement vector will be towards the right also, and the restoring force is towards the left. Because of the restoring force is opposite to the displacement, that's why it has a negative. It's directly proportional to the displacement. Now, let's have the practice problems. How much force is required to stretch a 300 Newton per meter spring by 25 cm? Let's use the Hooke's law, F equals Kx. Let's not worry about the negative sign. As you can see, the 300 Newton per meter is the constant of a spring, and the distance is 25 cm. We have a 300 Newton per meter. Since we have a meter unit on our constant, that dictates that we have to convert the 25 cm into meters. 25 divided by 1, 100 centimeter. So we will get the 0.25 meters. Now, 300 newtons per meter times 0.25 meters is basically 25% of 300 is 75 meters. I mean 75 newtons rather. Now, for the next question, how far can you compress the spring with a force of 150 newtons? So, we have a 75 newtons with stretch by 25 centimeter. Now, if we times 2 the 75 newtons, we have the 150 newtons, meaning all we have to do is times 2 the 25, so we can get the 50 centimeters. This will state the concept of if you double the distance, meaning the force is also doubled. But if you really need to check your answer, we have an equation for that. So the equation is F2 over F1 times X2 over X1. What we need to find is the X2. We have 75 newtons for F2 over 150 newtons for F1 times x2 and for the x1 is 25 centimeter. Now, let's divide first the 75 newtons to 150 newtons, which is, we can get 2 over 1 times x2 over 25 centimeter. Now, we can cross multiply this one. Cross multiply and we can get 50 centimeter. Now that you know the simple harmonic, let's proceed to the next one.
Thank you, Mr. Ian. Now we're breaking down another special kind of oscillatory motion, which is the linear simple harmonic motion. We'll use the classic mass spring system to uncover the core force, the math, and the dynamics that drive this perfect repeating motion. Let's start with the basics. Linear simple harmonic motion is a motion where a particle moves back and forth along a straight line, centered around one crucial spot called the equilibrium position. The equilibrium position is the system's balance point, the spot the mass naturally stays at rest if undisturbed. The moment the particle is displaced from this point, a special force instantly acts to bring it back. This force is the restoring force. It's the engine of the simple harmonic motion, and it always acts in the direction of the opposite of the displacement, constantly trying to restore balance. This restoring action isn't random. It follows a strict mathematical rule. The restoring force is proportional to the displacement, summarized by the equation F is equal to negative k times x. Here, F is the restoring force, and x is the displacement. The negative sign is the key. It mathematically confirms that the force always points back to the equilibrium. The K is the spring's constant that measures the stiffness. A large K means a stiff spring and a stronger restoring force for the same displacement. Now, let's look at the result of this force, which is the acceleration. By Newton's second law, force is equal to mass times acceleration. If we divide the restoring force by the mass, we find acceleration. The resulting essential condition for simple harmonic motion is expressed as acceleration is equal to negative k over m times x. This equation proves the simple harmonic motion condition. The further the particle moves from equilibrium, the greater its acceleration, back toward the center. Again, the negative sign means acceleration always points back to the center. This brings us to angular frequency. It's a measure of how quickly the oscillations happen. It's defined by the system's physical properties. Angular frequency is equal to the square root of k over m. If the mass is smaller, the motion is faster, but if the mass is large, it receives quick changes and the motion is slower. Finally, the energy in simple harmonic motion is constantly transforming. At maximum displacement, energy is stored as potential energy in the spring. As the mass shifts through equilibrium, that energy is released as kinetic energy. This perfect, balanced exchange of force and energy is the beautiful physics of linear simple harmonic motion. Now, we've seen how a straight line or a straight path like the mass spring system perfectly defines linear simple harmonic motion. But what happens when that motion isn't straight?
That's when we enter the world of angular simple harmonic motion. Good day, everyone. Now, our next topic under of simple harmonic motion is angular simple harmonic motion. Last topic tackled about linear simple harmonic motion. Let's recap. The general formula of linear simple harmonic motion is restoring force is equal to the product of spring and the distance from equilibrium position. Positive or negative is either of two. Simply, F is equal to negative K F is equal to negative K times X. Now, in other side, we're talking about angular simple harmonic motion. The general formula is T is equal to negative K times theta. T or torque is the rotational force applied to an object causing it to twist. K is equal to a material property and geometrical property of the cross section that quantifies the resistance to twisting. A higher stiffness means more torque is required for a given angle of twist. Theta, the angle through which is the object twists under the applied torque. Take note, the negative sign is indicate restoring couple. When an object is twisted, it develops an internal resisting torque that tries to return its original untwisted position. This relationship holds true for materials that are elastic and obey Hooke's law. Let's try an example. The problem is a thin rod is suspended by a torsion wire. When the rod is twisted, the torsion wire exerts a restoring torque. If the torsional constant K of the wire is 0.08 Newton meter per rod and the rod is twisted to an angle of theta 0.25 rad, calculate the restoring torque exerted by the wire. Now, we have a formula to find restoring torque, which is T is equal to negative K times theta. So, from that, we need to identify the value of K, which is K is equal to 0.08 Newton meter per rad. And then, the value of theta is equal to 0.25 rad or radians. So, we need to express the value of theta in radians because it's because our unit in K is per radian. So, we all know that 180 degree is equal to pi or equal to 3.14 radian rather. That's how to convert the 90 degree is equal to pi over 2. Then 45 degree is equal to pi over 4 and so on. So let's find the value of torque, restoring torque exerted to the wire by the wire rather. First, put the value negative K 0.08 Newton meter per rad times the value of 0.25 rad. First, we need to cancel the unit. Since Newton meter per over rad is equal multiplied by rad, division since we need to cross out this because torque is unit by Newton meter. Then torque is equal to then multiply it 0.08 Newton meter times multiply it, the result will be 0.02 Newton meter. That's the result. That is final answer. It's so very easy, right? So we already broken down the simple harmonic motion with its different versions, which are the linear and angular. The key takeaway is that these principles are not just a theory, but they are everywhere.
So to wrap things up, let's explore some real-world practical examples of this type of oscillatory motion. Let's start with the simple harmonic motion. In physics, one of the most interesting topics we study is simple harmonic motion, or SMH. A simple example we can all relate to is a playground swing. When you push a swing, it goes forward and backward because gravity constantly pulls it back to its original position. The motion is smooth, repetitive, and predictable. This is the essence of simple harmonic motion. Now, when we focus on linear harmonic motion, a very practical example is found in the suspension system of a car. Inside the suspension, there are springs that compress when the car hits a bump and then stretch back to their original shape. The car moves up and down along a straight vertical line, which make it linear oscillatory motion. This is not just theory. This principle keeps our ride smooth and safe, showing how physics works in our everyday lives. Meanwhile, angular harmonic motion is a little different. A good example is a pendulum in a wall clock. As the pendulum swings, it moves through an angle on each side of its resting position. So another practical example is a ceiling fan blade. When the fan is turned off and you push a blade slightly, it swings left and right around its axis before coming to rest. We call this angular motion because the displacement is measured by angles rather than straight line distance. These examples prove that oscillatory motion is not just a physics concept we learn in class. It is something we experience all around us in daily life.
So, there you have it, folks.
The simple pulse of oscillatory motion isn't just a textbook theory.
It's the invisible rhythm holding our physical world